Hello and welcome to the Real-Esteem podcast. Today is September the 26th, 2018. I'm your host, Patrick Tabor, and today on the Marriage Edition, we're going to talk about how to value your time. If you're accessing our podcast through any of our providers, Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Spreaker, please subscribe so you can get a notification when we make new ones available. If you'd like to listen to any old podcasts or get a copy of our book, Real-Esteem, Finding Your Identity in Christ, please visit us at enith.com, EYNIITH.com. It seems like there is not enough time in the day to get everything that you want to accomplish done. But if you break everything up into chunks and you focus on doing a few at a time, you eventually accomplish your whole goal of getting everything done. You can't do that, though, in one day. It'd be great to have more time, but we don't. We have 24 hours in a day, and we know automatically that 7 or 8 hours of that is necessary for sleep. But how does this relate in marriage? Well, one of the key goals of our enemy is to utilize or use up our time with things that are really not effective, helpful, beneficial to our life, our future, our destiny. It really doesn't help us. And we have to be conscious of what is really occurring around us and why we are involved in whatever activity we're involved in. Is it valuable enough to value that time? And in some cases it is. Went to a soccer game with my daughter tonight and she did well, and I had a good time cheering her on. But I need to make sure that I value that more highly than I do a TV show or a football game. So it's always important that you put in perspective priorities. That will help you learn how to value your time. In Psalms 90, in verse 12, it says, "So teach us to number our days that we may get a heart of wisdom." Knowing how to set aside that time in your marriage for going out on a date, having a decent conversation that doesn't involve the kids, not trying to figure out how to pay bills and things of that nature. Those are normal life situations that you have to talk about every day. But really sitting down and saying to yourself, how is our marriage? How are we doing? Or taking time out to just be a sounding board for your spouse, letting them vent, letting them talk. Those times are more precious and are high value as far as your time is concerned. A lot of times we get involved in trying to complete certain things, and they're valuable, they're important too, but you have to put in priority what is most valuable to God. God really wants you to put a priority on how you treat people. Your relationships are important because that's the only way you bring people into the knowledge of Christ. It's the only way you actually show the love of Christ, is to be able to give or help or benefit someone else with, whether it be your knowledge, your time, your effort, your support. Those kind of things help God do what he wants to do, which is to bless people, to bring people to know him, to bring people into relationship with him, to help people continue to follow him when things get rough. It's very difficult to do when you have people around you that are so focused on their agendas and they're getting their to-do list done that they don't have time to stop and have a conversation with you. So I know this firsthand, that I am the type of person that when something breaks, I actually want to stop everything that I'm doing and go fix it. And my kids tell me all the time, hey, can you just give it a moment? Because they know me, I will work on that until it's fixed. And that is just a character flaw, but it can be beneficial if I use it wisely. If I set that as a priority and I understand that I can allot a certain amount of time to something. If not, I may have to call somebody, or I realize I may have to do that in chunks over a certain period of time. Well, the same thing applies to setting that priority in going out on a date with your spouse. Setting a priority where the kids go somewhere else and you guys are alone. Whether it's not that you're trying to squeeze in time, you actually allot you actually take out time for your relationship with your spouse. It should be important to you. It is important to God because God really cares about relationships. He wants us to have good relationships so that we can help someone else have a better relationship. Even if your relationship is good, it always can go higher. It can become better. Unfortunately, what we do is we think that we've reached some type of plateau in a relationship where God has shown us time and time again that there's new levels that you can always rise to in relationship, especially in relationship with Him, because He does not set the limitations or the boundaries on getting to know Him. We as people, sometimes we set our boundaries, but the point is, if we are like Him, if we were made in His image, then we have the ability to not plateau, but to go higher and increase our learning, our knowledge, our understanding, and our love towards those that we care about most. So just remember, let's make sure we always put God first. He is number one. Our relationship with Him can always grow, but we have to do things in priority, not just based on our feelings. Ephesians 5:16 says, making the best use of the time because the days are evil. You will always have an enemy that's working against your time and trying to help you decide what you should use your time for. You have to make the judgment on what's the best use of your time because the days are evil. It's not a good time to slack off and not do what God asked you to do, especially when it comes to your relationships, whether it be your marriage or your children. Make sure you keep your relationships intact, regardless of what's going on around you. James 4:14 says, yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. So, I want to leave you with this last thought. You want to make sure that the people around you know without a shadow of a doubt that you love them, that you care for them deeply, that you would go out of your way and you would do extreme feats for them because you care about them. Not because you want something from them or because they provide something to you, but just because you actually care for them. Now, I'm saying this because you do not know when your last day or your last moment is on this earth. So it would be best to find yourself always striving to do great things for the people you are surrounded by, because you never know if that is the last day and that may be the last thing that you do or say. So make sure you put a special effort in loving and caring for those around you, because if you really stop and think about it, what does God spend most of His time doing? Caring and showing us love. I hope you got something out of this today. Be blessed, grace, and peace.